Everyone, Special Improvement District Board of Trustees Annual Meeting will begin at 5:30. At this time, I'd like to take a roll call vote first.
All right, in place of Tracy, who's joining us later, I'll be handling this. Alexa Clark.
Here.
Tracy Katz-Levine. Tim Hoffman.
Here.
Jackie Lieberberg.
Here.
Ben Stoller.
Present.
Ashley Schultz.
Not yet.
Is he a panelist?
No.
Who is the panelist? That's you.
Yeah.
Okay. Richard Wasserman.
Here.
And Stephen Weiner.
Here.
Okay. I will read the sunshine compliance statement. Notice of the time, date, location, and agenda of this meeting to the extent known was provided at least 48 hours prior to the commencement of this meeting in the following manner pursuant to the provisions of NJSA 10:4-6, the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice of this meeting and all meetings in 2024 was provided to the township clerk, posted in town hall and on the township's website, and provided to newspapers on December 19th, 2023.
For the record, I'd like to show that Ashley Schultz has now joined.
Ashley, can you hear us?
Maybe he's on mute.
You just
Hear me?
Okay.
Yes, now we can hear you.
I can hear you.
Great.
All right.
Next on the agenda, salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I'd like to have a moment of silence for Doris Katz, the mother of Tracy Katz-Levine, who passed away last week. Steve and I had the privilege of attending her funeral, and she was quite a trailblazer in her day. Worked for NBC News before women were really on the behind the scenes. She ran their research library, very impressive credentials, and worked full time while Tracy was a young girl. So just have a moment for Doris. Thank you. The purpose of the Special Improvement District is to promote, grow, and support local businesses, property owners, residents, and visitors. The mission of the Millburn Township SID is to encourage the economic, cultural, and social vitality of the township through increased marketing and visibility, improved and renewed infrastructure, and local business development and engagement. At this time, I'd like to have a approval of the minutes. May I have a roll call vote for the approval of the public session minutes from September 19th. In your packet, that was attachment 1.
Need a motion.
May I have a motion?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Alexa Clark.
I wasn't here.
You can vote if you have read them and you feel like they are suitable, or you can no vote. Okay. Tracy Katz-Levine is not here. Jackie Lieberberg.
Yes.
Ben Stoller.
Yes.
Ashley Schultz.
Yes.
Stephen Weiner.
Yes.
And then we need to do the
Yes.
closed session.
May I have a motion to approve the closed session minutes from September 19th, 2024? Motion. May I have a second?
Second.
May I have a roll call, please?
Alexa Clark. Jackie Lieberberg.
Yes.
Ben Stoller.
Yes.
Ashley Schultz.
Yes.
Stephen Weiner.
Yes.
Thank you.
Treasurer's report. Mr. Weiner.
Yes, thank you. I'm going to be very brief because of the length of our meeting today. Treasurer, the attachment number 3 in your packets are the expenses through September 30th. Our bank balance as of September 30th was $86,921.37. The balance then on October 7th, which is the date of the report, $73,031.44. Just very briefly, our total spendable budget, to remind everyone, was $293,788. And to date, year to date, we've spent $242,889.08.
Thank you. The sponsor funding report, Mr. Grillo.
This is actually Ms. Dean,
Oh, Amanda. My apologies.
but I will be handing you a very large version.
Printer's this big. This is a special printer.
A lot of information.
A lot of sponsors.
Oh, I need my glasses for this one. There you go.
Hey.
So you're gonna ask them to share. Thank you. 61.
Okay. Okay, so just to, this is broken down by event. And the key things we want to highlight, we have $48,355 committed at this time. And we have received $37,980 of that, so that's 79% is paid. And something to highlight, the amount owed, which is $10,375, only $2,500 of that is past due. So the rest of it isn't due yet. And all of the sponsorships for the winter villages have been secured. All but one have been secured for the holiday extravaganza, and we just opened up the Kids Go Crazy. And one of the four, actually no, one of the, there's several, but one of them has already been secured. So we're in really good shape collection wise, and we still potentially have another 4,000 that we can raise. Any questions?
Great progress.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And just a question, so the ones that haven't paid yet, looks like they're not even due yet, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay,
There's only one that's past due, and it was a technical issue, we should have it.
which one is that?
It's from the Center Court Club and Sports.
Okay,
That's from Town Hall Plaza,
okay,
but they're processing that now,
fantastic.
so.
It will be 100% paid as soon as that comes.
Wow, this is newfound money.
So these are all sponsorships that you guys went out and raised, leather on the pavement, knocking on doors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and people finding us, because we have that out there and they want to be a part of what we're doing.
Well, I want to commend you both for this. This is incredible. Do you happen to know what we had last year? It was nowhere near this.
Oh, we've never really solicited fundraising. I mean, we would make $5,000-$10,000.
Yeah.
With like Girls' Night Out.
Girls'
and,
Night Out was really
Here for the holidays, we had a couple, but,
nothing of this magnitude.
Not even close.
and Winter Villages.
Did we look into having a general sponsor for the website or to offer sponsorships for our online?
Not yet.
programs?
I haven't looked into that yet. I'm working on some tech updates, and I think once those things are done, then we can go out and solicit, because I think the value will be there.
Because I know that, I know that in my experience, there are a lot of people that will spend a lot of money to get their name as a sponsor of our website and get some exposure. So that could also be something.
Yeah, we have money allocated in the budget for 25 for website updates. We need better calendar functionality and a better database. Just the functionality of it's a little out of date. So I think once we do that, we'll be able to, present a better website to sell. But yeah, I think for 2025, it's absolutely a possibility.
Right. All right, terrific. Great job.
Thank you. Just one minor financial item that is not on here. If you guys remember at our last meeting, you approved an amendment to the bylaws, that one sentence that was required by the state to get our sales tax exemption. So the town, you approved that on September 19th, Township Committee approved that on October 1st. And on Tuesday, I got notification from the state that the paperwork had been approved, and we should get a hard copy of that in about 3 weeks. And then everything that we've spent since early July, we can now submit back to the state to have the sales tax paid
Retroactive.
to us.
That was my committee report, you just blew that.
Well, it's good news. We're getting our sales tax money back.
Sounds like good news.
So thank you, Ben, for leading that effort on the TC level.
Grant report,
We're gonna skip that for today. We don't have any updates.
okay. Mr. Stoller, Township Committee.
All right, well, he hit my one, that was the only one. But great job on the sponsorship. I think, continue to do what you're doing there. And also too, just report, I actually went to the new clothier today. Fantastic service. They did a wonderful job with the build out of the Futter building. Looks fantastic and they're very engaging. Thought I'd get a better discount or a discount. Jesus Christ. But they ain't cheap, but just fantastic work, top notch material. So if anybody needs anything, I would definitely jump over there. It was a good experience.
And they offer tailoring?
They offer alterations, they offer shirts, suits, soup to nuts, men's and women's apparel and complete alterations.
Terrific.
That's Albert Gerald Taylor's 333 Millburn Avenue,
Nice
across from the
guys.
deli.
Yeah, nice people.
That's it.
Mr. Hoffman, Business Administrators Report.
No report this evening.
Thank you. Mr. Slattery,
Good evening, everyone. I can be brief. There are two small updates. One is with the Bear Properties case. The briefing schedule that we talked about the last time we met remains in place, but we're expecting there will be a different trial date, which is sort of the argument portion of this kind of case. I don't have that date for you. I'll provide it when I do, and I'll continue to give you updates when we get any other new information. And then Mr. Grillo had asked me to just remind everyone, I think we may have talked about this right when I first joined you folks back in April or May, we're at that time of year where financial disclosures and those sorts of things are coming about. Just a reminder that several years ago, SIDS were removed from the list of bodies who have to file those documents. So you may have to do so for other boards or other organizations that you work with. But for this one, we don't have to do that. If that changes, I'll let you know about that too.
And just from a point of clarification from the town, while SIDS were exempt, the clerk was not aware, so she was putting us on the list. And now she's gonna remove us from the list, so we won't have to do any of it
for 2025.
for 2025.
Yep.
If you're on other boards or committees that it's required, then you have to do it, but the SID is exempt.
Got it. Thank you for that update. Ms. Dean, Marketing and Events.
Okay, so a quick verbal update on our Tour of the Town series, which has been a lot of fun. And honestly, it's been neat to get the behind the scenes and learn more about businesses we don't necessarily typically see. So we've done 20 of these reels so far. We post them on Instagram and Facebook. And the Instagram stats, the total views right now are 21,901. The average views per reel are 1,095. And we have 894 likes with an average of 44.7 likes per reel. And then we have the comments vary. The most comments were with Shala's.
It's just Vicky's.
As well as likes. And then the Millburn Indoor Golf had the most views with 2,035, as well as the most shares, 28 shares. So, as people view some, then they go back and view others. So these numbers are only going to increase.
Great.
And we're continuing one.
We're at 20 now.
We have 20. We've filmed, I think, another 5 that we're editing, and we've got a waiting list. So it's going really well.
Just to reiterate, the event tomorrow is by RSVP. You can't just show up, right, for everybody who's listening.
Yeah, certainly just send me an email. My email address is.
I mean, if anybody who wants to come, just to reiterate to everyone that you have to.
The grand opening.
But you know, it's a special event, she didn't talk about in a second,
Yeah,
but yes, if
okay.
you wanna come to the event tomorrow, email me, we just need a head count.
So we'll just go to that event.
Okay.
So Millburn Indoor Golf, they're having kind of an open house from 7 to 8, and you can do some golfing, meet the owner. It's an absolutely lovely space. But again, RSVP to Steve. And then from 8 to 9, everyone's moving over to Tonino's. And there's gonna be, is it some discounts or?
I don't wanna promise anything.
Okay. But Fernando, I'm sure will have something whipped up, so it's gonna be a lovely evening. And another nice partnership between the two businesses, so any questions, just ask Steve. Fall and winter event schedule, can you pull up that PDF? So I'm just gonna be brief. I'm literally posting the Halloween reel when we get out of this meeting. So we have our Halloween event on October 31st. It's gonna be from 2 to 5 in the downtown. And just some highlights, we're gonna have free face painting at Town Hall Plaza. We're gonna have a pumpkin patch with free pumpkins at the Millburn Art Alley. And kids can paint the pumpkins. We did it last year and it was a smash. And then we're going to have a trick or treat trail throughout the downtown. So that, what do you call it? It'll be every business is participating, and also we're giving the kids a little sheet to get the business to sign that they were there. And then they can bring that back and return that to possibly win a prize. So just encouraging more engagement in the shops with the families. We're also going to have Frankenstein walking around, a costume contest like last year. Lisa Raymond Goldfarb, she did photography, did her whole setup. It was lovely. So she's gonna do that again for us and provide families with digital photos. And I think that's about it. So we have several businesses signed up. I'm gonna do another reminder, and then posters are going up on Saturday and the banner's going up on Tuesday. We're doing another Kids Glow Crazy party. It's gonna be a holiday party at next to Boxcar and Short Hill Station. And this is the holiday version, so we're gonna give out holiday style glow sticks. We're working on getting sponsors for that. We have glow in the dark games we're gonna have for the kids. And our DJ LeBrock is coming back once again to spin holiday tunes. So that'll be lovely.
What's the date of that again, please?
November 15th,
Okay,
it's from 6 to 8 p.m. And
at Boxcar.
yep. And then we're also encouraging the businesses, all businesses, but especially those in that area, to contribute to little goodie bags for the kids. To help promote Short Hill Station, Upper Millburn Ave, et cetera. Holiday kickoff extravaganza that we've talked about, we're doing that to get people out shopping early, since we're losing a shopping week between Thanksgiving and Christmas and Hanukkah. So we're gonna have characters running around, the Grinch, Olaf, we're gonna have a Santa at the Millburn Art Alley. We will have several DJs spinning holiday tunes, carolers running around, and what was I gonna say? We're working on, if we get enough signups, to have like a little mini holiday market in the art alley. So I'm getting responses now, just we want it to be substantial enough to call it a market, otherwise we won't. And then there's gonna be a lot of promotions, giveaways, everything. It's from 12 to 3 on Saturday, November 23rd. We'll also have elves greeting people at the different parking lots and garages. And then the winter villages are once again gonna be here, Splurge providing these s'mores for everyone. We're gonna have 6 fire pits going. Both days are gonna be at Town Hall Plaza. So we'll be able to set up and kind of leave everything there. And we have the 5 igloos again, all sponsored. Jack's Surf and Turf is gonna be serving hot chocolate and chowder again. And I know other businesses that are already jumping on that wanna have a presence there as well. And we're gonna also have a snowflake activity for kids. So we have plenty coming up. Any questions?
What are the date, what is the time slots for the 7th and the 14th?
So it's from 4 to 8 p.m. is what we're gonna promote.
Mhm.
Will be open through 9 because people keep coming.
Right.
So we
Right.
can start shutting down at 9. Anything else?
No,
Yeah,
rain or shine on October 31 and November 23rd, I'm assuming?
November 23rd, we will potentially move it, but it would have to be an extreme situation because not all of the entertainment can be moved.
Okay,
But the winter villages each have a snow date of the next day, so it's dated for the Saturday, snow date Sunday.
got it.
I know we don't have so much of a new business, but I was pondering at the last Saturday's music festival. Can we get an ice skate rink for Township Plaza? I mean, my friend has one up in Short Hills. I mean, literally, you buy them on Amazon. I don't know how much it's $1,000, whatever. But how cool would it be to have ice skating in Township Plaza during the winter, if it gets cold enough?
Was it inflatable? How does it work?
It's not inflatable. It's like a barrier that goes around. You put water in it. It self-levels
I've seen it,
because
yeah.
so you don't have a.
But it has to be below freezing.
It has to be below freezing.
Why not? But we'll look into it.
Yeah, well,
I think that'd be a nice draw downtown during the winter months when,
That would be fun.
I mean, you can't have hockey playing on it, but.
no, not with the cars. Okay.
And what happens if you just, how do you,
People have to bring their own skates.
no, that's what I understand, but if you want to, the breakdown, what do? You throw, I mean, how does it?
Oh,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
well, I'm thinking like maybe for 2 months or so, looking at keeping it there. I think, you see, what's the Wallman rink? What's the one in Central Park?
Wallman is
Wallman.
Central Park.
Yeah, so something like that.
There's one in Philly as well.
We'll look into it.
Yeah,
I think it depends on the weather also in terms of how cold it is.
yeah, I mean, so it has to be the
Maybe.
deep winter, basically. It has to stay under 30 degrees for
Yes.
4 days or,
Yeah.
we really haven't had that.
We haven't really had that yet.
Okay,
And the holiday, yeah,
Yes,
holiday
so
decor.
this is all going very well. Some things that Explore has done, all of our fall planters are done, so you'll notice new flowers throughout the town. We also put corn stalks up at Town Hall Plaza. And then we're having 40 corn stalks installed around town on Saturday as well, to just enhance that fall feel. DPW and myself, we did a test run of holiday lights on one of the trees in lot 1 just to see kind of how much it took. And so DPW is going to be installing lighting on 4 of the trees that are surrounding lot 1. So if you're standing at the clock tower, the first 2 trees here, the first 2 trees here are going to get lights. That's going to happen in the next week, so that'll all be ready for the holidays. And then they're going to also install lights at the Bauer Center along the roof line. And then we're going to have lights installed at the gazebo in the Rose Garden at Taylor Park, in the courtyard behind La Strada and Coffee Mill Roasters, next to Short Hill Station. And then we're going to have 2 jumbo light like stars that are going to be installed on Upper Millburn Ave. So everything's happening. Everything should be complete in the next few weeks, and we'll report back on that.
What about the 100-year-old tree?
We do not have any plans to do anything with that at this time.
Okay, I think we used to light it up.
The chamber, I don't know if
The
they-
chamber is not doing anything this year.
Well, yeah, that I knew. All right, I'm just throwing.
Well, we confirmed it last
It sounds like you're doing it sounds like you're doing a lot. I was just asking about the trees. but-
Yeah, no, not at this time, but I can
Okay.
talk to Alex about
Okay, great. Thank you.
that. That's all I have.
Yeah,
Okay.
it might be nice to light that up and the gazebo.
Yeah, in the years past, they used to, I don't know where they would electrify it from, but that tree,
There's electricity in the gazebo.
yeah, if you could ask Alex, that's always a nice touch. That's a big tree. It's a nice tree.
It's the old elm tree.
Yeah,
What's happening with the planters on Upper Millburn Ave?
I mean,
You can-
so that's a partnership with the Native Plant Group. So we have 6 native plants that are there. They're native pollinators, et cetera. So they're not meant to be display pieces. They will die in the winter and then they will come back in the spring. So that is what they will be. Okay.
We have some that are near St. Rose of Lima, another one down there, and then I think are some of them the beautification. It's kind of a mix of
Yeah,
groups,
we also
isn't
have
it?
some trees on Upper Millburn that have planters in them, so,
Yeah.
but right by you, there's the 6. Those are all native plants that are intended to die. They'll grow back in the spring. New businesses, closed businesses, our monthly report. So we did lose 2 businesses this month, Beauty Suites at 507 Millburn and Highlander Capital at 535. Those are both on Upper Millburn. I've reached out to both landlords for more information. One of those did have an eviction notice on it, so I don't know what the story is there, but I'll try to find out. We know businesses opened, but we do have a few that are under lease. Actually, the Panera space on Morris Turnpike has a lot going on. So the gymnastics and ninja school is absolutely booming. There's also Zoma Salon went out of business. They've been replaced already. There's a pediatric medical that's coming in. They were at the planning board last night. Trinity Rehab went out of business about 3 months ago. They're being replaced with a similar use. The former Harmon, which has been utilized kind of strangely since then, that's going to be a emergency vet. And then Johnson Fitness is in that section as well. They sell fitness equipment. They are corporately consolidating locations in the region, but there's another retailer that's expected to sign a lease imminently. And then I have a meeting on Monday with one of the new tenants at the Charlie Brown space, not Willow and Whisk, but another one. I don't want to disclose the name right yet, but that is moving forward as well. So a lot of stuff just under lease and moving forward, but overall very good.
The Highlander Capital, I mean, those guys been there for a while, and
Yeah.
I know that guy, any idea they just moved sites or any?
I don't know where they went, trying to figure it out, but I also didn't hear anything as to that they were looking to leave. Didn't hear anything from the owner, who's a very prominent owner in town, so kind of surprising to me. The beauty suites I was not surprised by, but.
Right, no, Highlander's been a staple there, and he has some pretty good clients too, so.
And Color Theory is doing an opening. That's one of the new salons there at 46 Essex, right across from the parking deck, really, sort of. But that's gonna be October 24th, 4 to 7. We'll send a reminder to everybody, but it'd be nice if everyone could come.
What's the date again?
Beautiful.
Color Theory,
It's next Thursday, the 24th.
the 24th, 4 to 7 p.m. Just a little opening. No,
She's opening up 249 Millburn. Jabby Dental.
that's not in the bid.
Oh, that's not in
Yeah, 249. But you said 249 Millburn or Maine?
Maine, 249.
Yeah, 249 Maine is outside the district.
Oh,
I know exactly where it is.
Yeah. that's great.
Well, if she needs any help, let her.
And she can also be a sponsor.
That's true, we take sponsors. Business advocacy report, so we have, this is great news. Alex and the town forester have developed a plan for 28 new trees that are be going in the spring. They'll be on Upper Millburn Avenue and downtown Millburn Avenue to Lackawanna. So Amanda and I worked with the forester, talked about some potential issues that, you know, related to parking and signage, but 28 new trees gonna be coming in, so we're really excited for that.
And
No
they're all natural to New Jersey as well.
No bamboo.
bamboo, that means no pandas on the street.
Yeah.
So SID legislation, we talked about a couple of things that are in front of the state legislature. Nothing's changed since our last meeting, but we are hoping that there'll be progress on that $1 million grant program that I had mentioned. The state is considering doing 10 $100,000 grants every year, but only to SIDs. And so that might be something that gets passed and is in effect in 2025, so we'll just keep an eye on that. The Main Street program, so the Main Street New Jersey application. Since it's our annual meeting, I'll give a recap. There's some new faces in the room. So the Main Street New Jersey program, you know that we submitted an application earlier this year. Main Street, New Jersey is actually one of 40 what they're called coordinating programs for the national program, so it's 40 across the nation. It's the highest possible designation for an organization like ours. It is responsible for economic development training, capital dollars, as well as technical assistance. Metuchen and Red Bank this year both got $150,000 grants for their streetscaping projects. So we received approval from the township in February to proceed with the application. We submitted the application in March and we interviewed in May. So when we submitted, there were 24 communities statewide. But as of today, there are 25 because we are the newest Main Street awardee here in Millburn, New Jersey.
Wondering what was behind that.
Yeah.
Yes, so I got
Awesome news.
notice yesterday from the state that we are the newest awardee.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you all.
Yeah,
What comes with the awardee? You know what's going on.
What doesn't?
A lot of training programs for me and Amanda. But mainly the benefit is, so we Explore, we're the drafter, right, the writer of the application, but the municipality is the actual designee. So going forward, the municipality will be eligible for capital dollars related to a variety of
Oh, I
things.
know what it is, just want to make sure.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it opens us up to a whole host of new opportunities that were not there before.
Yeah, and like I said,
Grants,
Red Bank and
right.
Metuchen, they both received $150,000 to do capital improvements. So when we're talking about streetscaping, sidewalks, planters, the municipality will be able to use that money instead of having to go into its coffers.
May I?
Sure.
So I would just like to take a moment to express how significant this designation is for Explore. The Main Street program has been in existence since 1989, and all of you know the DMDA was never selected, and as far as I know, never applied for that designation. After we received 501c3 status in August of 2021 and became eligible, we were selected on our first try. We went from a SID that decided to dissolve to one that was selected to be part of the most exclusive club in the entire state of New Jersey. This designation will open funding resources to the township. And I want to just say that none of this would be possible without the hard work of our executive director. He wrote an exceptional and robust application, and I don't believe anybody else could have done such an exemplary job. I think this is a great win for the business community. It's a great win for our township, and I am very, very proud to be the chair of this organization. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations to all of you. All right. Now to the meat and potatoes tonight.
And let's make sure we also publicize.
We won.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, you didn't tell everyone also some of the other facts, but that'll be, I'll come my time later.
All right, we're gonna do state of the SID first. It's at the end, actually. All right, so we're gonna do the state of the SID report. That's our biannual report. This is, all data is accurate as of October 1st. We're just gonna buzz through this pretty quickly since we've already presented it earlier this year. So Timothy will just go through. In terms of tax lots, so downtown represents nearly 2/3 of the 161 total assessed lots, but it only provides 43% of the actual assessment value. That's because Morris Turnpike and Wyoming have large properties with very high commercial values. And so that's what the assessment is based on. In terms of total businesses, there's 509 in the SID at the time of this report. Downtown and Morris Turnpike actually represent a combined 75%. And what I think is interesting is most people probably don't realize that Morris Turnpike has 95 businesses. There's quite a number on that strip. In terms of categories, the three most common businesses in the SID are professional services, medical, and food and drink. that represents a combined 58% of the total businesses. So Explore and the township really have to consider what these demographics mean, how the township can work to not only preserve and support retail, but also plan and zone for other growing uses, experiential retail, Millburn Indoor Golf, high-end medical, Garden State Dental Design is a new use, and then education and enrichment. We've seen a huge growth in education and enrichment businesses in the town. In terms of location types, just over half the businesses are located on first floor traditional storefront spaces, but 159 businesses are located in multi-tenant buildings. And I think that's an important statistic to realize because there are some regulatory issues that the town creates that some of these businesses need to overcome. In terms of business timing, so 123 businesses have opened since the formation of the SID. That represents 24% of all the businesses in the district. So a quarter of the businesses in the district have come in since the SID was created, and we've averaged over 30 new businesses each year from August 2020 to this report. In terms of post-SID formation, of the 123 businesses that have opened, 56% have been in the downtown and 44% have been in outer districts. That's actually nearly identical to the total proportions of businesses, with 56% or so being in the downtown and 44% in total being in the outer districts. Looking at vacancy rate, so when the SID was initially considered, there was an estimated vacancy rate of 16%. The rates continued to decline significantly since then. We did reach an all-time low last October, so a year ago, at 3.26%. The rate is currently 4.62%, which is still below the industry average of 5%. As you can see from this chart, we have 289 occupied storefronts and just 14 vacant storefronts in the district. In terms of vacancy by district, Upper Millburn Avenue has the highest vacancy rate at 13%, but the next highest is just 3.5%. In Morris Turnpike, and downtown currently has a storefront vacancy rate of just 1.39%. So it's we're doing quite well in those districts. So in terms of recommendations, and we'll focus a little bit more on this as the year comes to an end, but we've isolated 4 major situations that we want to discuss. So the changing demographics is a big one. Certainly it's something that we hear from our stakeholders. 40% of residents now are of Asian descent. And so we want to work with those community leaders, and we have been, on cultural engagement, things like cultural sensitivity, shopping expectations, holiday shopping trends, communications. We've actually learned a lot from the Chinese community, and we've been trying to get that out to our businesses. We want to work with the merchants and host listening sessions next year where we can hear about some of the issues they're facing because of a changing economic and cultural demographic, and then how we can incorporate those new cultural organizations into things like Town Hall Plaza, the Art Alley, et cetera. Market saturation and a lessening need for retail is certainly a concern. As you guys know, it's a dense area. We have a lot of competition. We have a SID basically in every town that surrounds us. We have commercial highways like Route 22, and of course we have regional malls. So we need to continue to work with property owners and brokers, try to reduce barriers to entry. We do that every day when we get calls from people looking for space. Think about some short-term strategies like subdividing storefronts, prioritizing short-term leases, working with not-for-profits, and then considering maybe a town brand like Summit has with their design. Maybe it's not necessarily a town brand, but it could even be a district brand. I was actually talking to somebody today about how there's so much fitness on Morris Turnpike. So maybe that, gets branded as some sort of fitness corridor, but something to think about from the marketing perspective in 25. A lack of available space and rezoning. So we are actually running out of spaces, to be quite honest. And the face of retail has changed so much in terms of what physical space they're looking for. People want smaller and smaller and smaller. And with aging building stock like we have in this town, it's not built to suit. It's often inflexible. And so we need to think about how we can reduce barriers to entry. One thing that we would love to at least see some advocacy and discussion on is the 125-foot rule that prohibits restaurants on Upper Millburn and Morris Turnpike. We understand the intent of that, but 2 out of the 5 districts basically cannot recruit a restaurant. So I think there needs to be some discussion on how we can alleviate that. Advocating for more residential density in the downtown and more mixed use that comes with it, right? We want, anytime we're building residential, we should also be trying to build commercial. And then parking requirements are a big issue, actually. Concierge pediatrics, I'm on the town development review committee, where before someone goes to a land use board, they can come and speak to us. These folks who are opening a pediatrics space in the former Zoma Salon on Morris Turnpike by what was Harmon, they had to come in and get approval because the parking ratio is different between medical and retail, but it's a giant surface parking lot. So first off, it doesn't matter, right? There's gonna be plenty of parking, but the rules are just incongruous with modern needs. They should have never had to come in front of a land use board and have to go through that. So those are things that, you know, the rules were set forth a long time ago. We need to re-examine how those work. That'll be a partnership with the zoning and planning board, but of course the township committee as well. And then finally, township appearance and access. You know, the town is aging and it requires a lot of investment. So I'm glad we have now the possibility of money from Main Street, New Jersey to get better sidewalks and lights, but and the, you know, the new trees that are coming in. But we definitely need to address communications related to road closures. That's been a big issue for merchants. Alex and I are working on better communication with the police department, but that's going to continue to be a priority issue. We talked about, you know, enforcing more private property maintenance standards. Something that we can leverage with the state funding is potentially micro grant funding that we could use to help business owners spruce up their properties. Also working with the township to develop e-bike and e-scooter infrastructure. I think Ben talked about that last night or Tuesday night. I'm seeing that as a huge issue across lots of SIDs in the state, is that as you build these new residential developments in the downtown, people don't want cars, but it's just a little too far to walk to a train station or a transit hub. So we need to think about how we're dealing with e-bikes and e-scooters. And then Tracy had wanted to talk about developing a strategic planning subcommittee, just to talk about sort of big picture initiatives, as well as thinking about smaller issues like those storefronts that may be, you know, not appealing. So overall, I think that the condition of the vacancy study and the vacancy report is good. We've pretty much plateaued. We're always now for the last, I don't know, 6 or 7 reports, sub 5%. So things are very stable. We've got a lot of projects right now that are under construction or under lease. And I think we've got a lot of positive stuff to work on for 2025. Any questions, or I can get into the budget?
Steve, I have one question. What about, how does co-working space factor in the township or in the SID going forward? I know we have some co-working space. Does that factor into any of our statistics?
No, we don't have.
We did have.
We did have, I don't
But
know.
it was when the golf, there was a little house that had some desk situation. It was really not designed for,
There wasn't anything.
yeah.
Well, speaking in generality, so let's just talk about the downtown for this question. There's a prohibition against office space on the first floor, right? So you have to come in to get a variance. I don't agree with that. I think that's a bad idea. I think if you do a nice job of activating first floor office space by public art, large windows, lighting. I understand why they didn't want office space on the first floor whenever that was written. I think that's an out of date philosophy. Co-working space, you know, one of the challenges is parking. You know, you've got people coming and going. And so I'm not sure the downtown's the best place for it. Maybe there's some satellite
Maybe not
locations.
downtown, but maybe in some of the districts.
Yeah.
You know, just people, it seems to me that a lot of people are working from home. Sometimes home is not the greatest place, you know, for a small entrepreneur.
I would love it. I think it's a great way to generate foot traffic on a strip. I've personally never received a phone call about it in 4 years, but that doesn't mean that it won't come in tomorrow. I don't know. Maybe they're watching you tonight, getting ideas. So I'm going to present the budget tonight. So at our last meeting, we had our workshop. We talked about different aspects of it. Tonight, I'm going to present it again, provide some additional information. You guys can ask me questions, and then we're going to have a public comment period just on the budget. And we can ask questions, etc., answer questions, and then you guys will be asked to vote to push the agenda, push the budget to the township committee for final approval. So
Before you jump in,
yeah.
I just want to interject a second. You were going through all the different pieces downtown. I just want to read a text I got from a local business owner. just letting you know, the website is up and running. We couldn't be more thankful for the hard work that was done by the SID. We love it so, and it's so easy to navigate. I think it captures the storage product lines and much more. Many, many thanks to you for hooking us up. So somebody called me and put them in touch. And they got a website, whole deal. And not only did they do that, they actually put them in with a local Amazon rep to be a delivery of product for people who order local and want it by 11 a.m. or whole crap where you pay $2.99.
Wow.
And you get it between 7 a.m. and 11 a.m. or something like that. So we're working with them to be a fulfillment center. So just things like that, it's just nice to get a nice email every once in a while.
That's really nice, yeah.
We try to keep them happy for
That's
you,
great
Ben.
news.
All right, so we did this last month, so I'm not gonna dive too deep into it, but what you're seeing here is the package that's gonna go to the Township Committee. We're doing a more detailed and robust presentation than we've ever done before. And so what they're gonna receive is a 6-tab document. And so the first tab is what we're gonna go through tonight, which is the budget by source of revenue. That's what you saw last year when we approved it, and it's the most user-friendly. There's a narrative, there's also a 2024 to 2025 comparison. We're not gonna discuss those tonight. There is an assessment increase document because we are requesting an assessment increase. I've broken that down. So we're gonna talk about that item. And then number 5 is the key performance indicators for quarters 1 through 3. And then we're gonna skip the success tracker. But that will be included when it eventually makes its way to the Township Committee. So, Tim, if you would pull up the source by revenue, thank you. So starting on the income side, the most obvious change is that $40,000 assessment increase that we are proposing. So that's a 20% increase. The majority of that, the vast majority of that will be spent on stakeholder-facing services. So things like plantings, events, marketing, street maintenance. There's also a $1,000 increase in my salary allocation from the township, which is required by the ordinance. There's a new line, the $35,000 from the township to cover the majority of the operating costs with Town Hall Plaza. It does contribute to the overall economic vitality of the town, but it's also not central to our mission. And so we're happy to manage it. We are happy that it's been a success, but we are asking the township to cover the cost because we don't believe it should be shared by all of the different businesses. There's also, so the township gave us $27,500 this year. We're expecting a longer season next year, so that's why that number is $35,000. That will not be paid to Explore, so you won't see that in the bank. That money goes just to the vendors that are providing whatever service or whatever item we're purchasing. And then that $35,000, that's only a ceiling, so we may spend less than that. It really just depends, but that money is not given to us, as I said, so we're only spending it, or we're only seeing the cost as we spend. There's a $35,000 estimate for sponsorship revenue, which we see we've blown by this year, so we wanted to be conservative. It's about 70% or so of what we've raised this year. And then, that is a moving target. We're also requesting another $20,000 from the town for their Clean Communities Fund. They did that this year. We ran a 12-week street cleaning and weeding program. It was very, very successful. And so we're requesting that again. And then we're going to propose putting in an additional $8,000 out of our assessment, which will extend the period by another 6 weeks or so. Then we also have a placeholder that I've mentioned for $6,000 for the Essex County Public Art. That number will change depending on the decision. We'll probably hear from the county in the next 3 to 4 weeks. But obviously that is just what it is. You can approve that budget and then we'll just change that line item depending on what comes in, because that's dedicated only to one fund. So the total revenue is $396,158, which is $79,000 higher than this year's income. And we always hold $20,000 back in contingency. So there's a total spendable budget, if you look at line A9, of $376,158. So that gets us to our expenses. We have 4 main categories: management and staff, professional services and operations, services excluding the street closure, and then the street closure itself. So as you see here, there's 4 columns, B through E. So you have the assessment, the township non-discretionary payment, that's the $56,158. That's required in the ordinance towards half of my salary or compensation. There's discretionary township money, that's the Clean Communities and the Town Hall Plaza, so that's up to the township how they want to spend that, if at all. And obviously, if that money's not allocated, those services won't be delivered. And then the other sources, which are either grants or sponsors. And so in the management category, I have a $2,000 contractual increase, which is only $1,000 is paid out of the assessment, $1,000 is paid out of the town. The board at our last meeting instructed me to add $5,000 to Amanda's contract compensation, so she'll go from $60,000 to $65,000. However, that only takes effect if this budget is approved by the township committee. If that is the case, we will amend her contract at the end of the year. I lost my spot. Okay, so then
Before.
yes, so we also have, we'd like to have a compensated summer intern for economic development projects. We put $2,000 towards that, and then we're proposing a $15,000 new position, which will be a part-time assistant to help Amanda with things like event planning and prep, business assistance before and during events, social media scheduling, filming, posting. The tour of the town videos take 3 hours between scheduling, filming, and editing. So you start doing that at volume. It's a lot of her time. If we could have somebody else do that, she could focus on generating sponsor dollars, et cetera. So we think that's a really good use of the money. The total cost of these positions in this category is 49% of the total budget, which is actually 5% less than Summit spends on its administration, as an example. So I think we're gonna invest a lot in human capital here and get some really get some extra work out of people and help alleviate Amanda's responsibilities and let her do some other things. On the professional services category, this is really operations for the most part. You'll see we're increasing our email and technology services by $3,000. We under budgeted this year. It's just become very expensive to have the different subscriptions we need, et cetera. We also allocated $700 to allocate for website upgrades, and those are things, like I mentioned to Richard, interactive calendars, directory improvements, and something that we can probably get sponsor money for. So we have 700 in there to start. Hopefully we can raise some more, but the website is 3.5 years old now, and some of the functionalities need to be updated. The general services category, what we call our public facing services, those are the things that you see every day. So we have an event budget of $30,000, which is an increase of $9,000 from last year. Most of that revenue we expect will come from sponsorships, as we saw this year. It's also important, bless you, to keep in mind that we do not charge SID businesses to participate in any of our events. Some SIDs locally do. We do not, so we don't ever bring in revenue unless someone decides they want to be a sponsor. We're also reallocating some of our marketing budget from this year to next towards social media influencers. That's a demand that we've had from businesses, so we're going to add that to the budget. And then streetscaping and plantings, we're adding $2,000 for a total expense of $20,000. We also need to do a winter refresh and expansion of the Morris Turnpike Streetscape project, which we started this year. And we'd like to, as I mentioned, add $8,000 to the second year of the street maintenance program, so we can extend that a little bit further. The total amount for this category is $98,500, which is 25% of the total budget. And then finally, Town Hall Plaza, we're requesting $35,000 from the township. We want to put another $11,450 from the assessment, and then we're estimating $2,750 from sponsorships, but that number is going to go up just based on what we raised this year. We also would like $10,000 to hire someone to help clean and manage the space. Amanda and I are here every single weekend. We clean it every day. It's not really a great use of our time and skill to be moving around chairs. So we would love to have somebody that could at least part-time do that. And then, of course, money for live music, capital improvements. We would love to buy some more gazebos. We'd love to do a branded barrier so that when you drive up, it says, "Welcome to Town Hall Plaza." So there's a whole host of things now that we've seen that it has been a successful project that we would like to make things a little bit more permanent. And then, sorry. Okay, so then.
Do you have more chairs in there? Where's the more chairs? That's supplying equipment?
Yeah, we can buy more chairs. We're gonna need to buy more chairs.
We need to replace things that break and then get more.
Right.
And could you go to the assessment page? There you go. So in order to do this, we need to raise the assessment. We're proposing a $40,000 increase. So the chart here really is just to talk about different ranges of properties, what they pay in '24, and what they would pay if there's an increase. So in 2024, the 161 properties that are assessed paid $1,267 on average, so $1,267. With the proposed increase, that average assessment will go up $266 for the year. It's important to note that 67 properties, which you see there, that pay between $100 and $499, their increase will be only $65 on average. 113 properties, or 70% of all the assessed properties, will have an average increase less than $175 for the year. So the vast, 3/4 of the properties will only see their assessment go up by less than $175. And after this increase, as you see on the bottom, we will still have the lowest assessment compared to Summit, Springfield, and Livingston, but we serve almost the exact same number of businesses as Springfield and twice as many as Summit. So I think we're just being realistic and competitive. We've also never raised the assessment since the start. So then, Tim, if you go to the next slide, I'm gonna try to go through the KPIs fairly quickly. So the key performance indicators are something that Ben asked us to put together here. So we track them in a couple of different categories. Economic development, we've had 30 requests for space this year. We've had 51 navigating government requests, 47 requests for general business advocacy, and that's 128 total service requests that we fielded from businesses or stakeholders in the first 3 quarters. So we get a lot of calls, we get a lot of emails, and we deal with them to try to help them in those categories. We've done 12 professional development sessions in one form or another. Also, the one that I think is really cool is we've been tracking the meter parking revenue. So we have metered parking in 3 of the 5 districts, Upper Millburn, Downtown, and Short Hill Station. They've generated $328,000 in the first 3 quarters. So I think that's gonna be really interesting. At the end of the year, we can look back at 23 and 22 and 21, see what kind of growth there was. And then certainly we could start setting benchmarks and try to figure out, it's a great indicator of health of the district, right? If more people are paying to park, that's terrific. So that's gonna be something interesting that we wanna look for. Go to the next if you'd like. So we've also tracked our social media. It's huge for us, as you guys know. We've conducted 7 digital initiatives. So those are campaigns, Tour of the Town's an example. We have 2,900 people on our email distribution list. It's an increase of 250 since December. We also have 3,800 Instagram followers, which is an increase of 743 this year. So that's a huge growth. We've had over 227,000 Instagram engagements, and we've conducted 27 one-on-one marketing consultations with individual businesses this year. We've also assisted 9 businesses to enroll in the NJEDA free website program that Ben mentioned. The Tour of the Town campaigns approaching 25 businesses. And then we also looked at events, which I think might be on the next, or is it, do you have to scroll down? Yeah, we got it.
Special events.
Sorry, so then in terms of events, we have engaged 114 businesses who've participated in Restaurant Week, Girls Night Out, Town Hall Plaza, et cetera. And then if you go to the next. Thank you. In terms of community organizations, so 160 businesses have participated in the 2 residential project marketing programs, the Hearth and the Metropolitan. 160, that's a lot. And then we've also engaged over 50 volunteers and 21 non-business community organizations through a variety of different programs, Town Hall Plaza, the Public Art Project with Mill Wheels. So 21 organizations locally have received benefits and promotions to help try to create, better community visibility. So I think, this is the first time we attempted these KPIs. We need to figure out what we wanted to quantify. And I think everything is indicating that we're doing quite well and we're getting a big reach. And so I'll come back to you in January with the closeout for the calendar year. So that is the state of the SID, the budget, the KPIs. If you have any questions, you may ask them. Otherwise, we can open up to public comment on the budget.
Okay, first, before we proceed to public comment, are there any questions from anybody on the dais? Or Mr. Schultz, do you have any questions?
Your mic is off. I can't hear you.
I do not. I'm good.
Thank you, Ashley. Oh,
Mhm.
did you hear me? No, I hope.
I heard you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right.
Anybody from the dais have any questions with respect to the,
Yeah, I just have one question in terms of like streamlining. I know that we're setting aside $15,000 for event, social media marketing assistance. And I know that we're also looking for more coverage for the street closure. Could that be one person or that?
It's two very different skill
Is
sets.
it? Okay.
One's more of a manual labor, the other one's a social media
It's two
person.
different things. Okay, that was my question.
And what strikes me, just a quick comment, not really a question, is that it's not just the events that are benefiting the SID membership, but it's actually, when I see management staff, I think you said 49% of the expenses. But you're counseling individually businesses, you're walking in and helping them, so much of the SID benefit for business is the people. And so it's not, I was thinking, is it overhead? But it's not really, because you have to pay for that level of service to support business, just like holding events and
Right.
you know, that, it was just striking me as like, it is the people walking in, filming, spending time, answering questions,
Right.
being at the other end of a
Well,
phone.
that 129 or whatever the number was, service requests, that's literally people calling up and saying,
Yeah,
I don't know how to pay for my parking as a business. I don't know, I've got a zoning question. I don't know what kind of sign I have to put up. Like, it could be anything, all day. I mean, Amanda sees it, the phone never stops ringing because there's,
Right.
but it's good. It means we have an active
Well, that's-
local economy. There's a lot going on.
And before the SID, before Explore and before you were located in town hall, the way the ordinance was organized, who would, the chance of somebody getting an answer to any of those questions was very limited, just because Alex has a full plate and the staff here has a full plate. So the fact that you're here to answer the phone, it's tremendous. It's a tremendous benefit to the township.
not only to answer the phone, but to walk into the office of any of the other departments and get a responsive answer right away.
Yeah.
Because you're here,
Yeah.
on premises.
Yeah, and I just want to thank you for putting together the KPIs that I requested, because it gives us some visibility
Right.
into the results. And if you can't measure it, you can't fix it. And from these measurements, looks like everything's going great. And at the end of the day, the largest
Value added.
example of success is how much people are willing to pay to be a part of it. And those sponsorships of $49,000 with 80% already paid, and the other ones aren't even due yet. Is exemplary. So thank you.
Anybody else from the dais have any questions? Okay, public comment.
My name is Jeffrey
Wait,
Feld.
Jeffrey, Mr. Feld, let me read the public comment. Public is invited to speak at this public comment limited to the 2025 budget only. There will be an opportunity after this portion of public comment to share any thoughts with respect to the overall bid. Clearly state your name, speak into the microphone, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Please remember, this is a business meeting and professional decorum must be maintained. All questions must be directed to the chair. At the conclusion of public comment, members of the board may respond or ask staff or the attorney to do so. Staff members will not answer questions without a request from board members. Mr. Feld.
All right, Jeffrey Feld, resident in the poet section. I'm just going to give some general comments for when you do the presentation to the township committee. This has been a comment that's been made since all the budgets, that you have more of a comparison slide deck of the cost of administration as to various other municipalities, rather than just hearing like someone's statement that you have the charts of the various neighboring ones. Two, you might want to get opinion from council as to the $20,000 reserve. Is that allowed by the statute? So the way the statute is that any monies that are not expended have to be used to reduce the assessment. You might want an opinion from council prior to going to the TC. As to, you had congratulations on the Main Street, New Jersey, but I've received communications that the state wanted you to break out the SID budget to show how much is really limited to the Main Street area boundaries. I don't think you have done that. That was the correspondence that I received from the state, so when you go to the township committee, you might need another page showing really of this SID budget, how much is really allocated to the area that's deemed to be the Main Street project. Also, when you talk about revenues are created by assessment by property owners. Other than sponsorships, the businesses which are not the property owners, the statute allows you to impose a fee on them. Because when you talk about the distinction, I think you threw out a number about 160 some odd properties being assessed, but there's about, I think, 560 businesses located in the districts. The question is, why aren't you going to the businesses and imposing a fee on them rather than and spreading the pain to various other parties? That's something I throw out as contemplation. It's in the statutes.
Does anybody else want to comment on the budget, 2025 budget?
Vicky Powell, business owner. I just want to say you did a fabulous presentation of the budget. As a business owner here for 40 years, you guys are just doing a fabulous job. And I can tell you, any of you on the dais, if you walk into any businesses, they would always say the same thing. Steve and Amanda are doing a great job. Explorer supporting the businesses. It's not easy having a retail or a restaurant or a service business in this day and age. And the support we get from this organization is amazing. And I was involved in the old SID. And like I said, the management is in line with all these other towns that are thriving. And with the Millburn, with the Main Street designation, what's going to happen to Millburn is going to be wonderful. And I just want to say, I support the budget, and I can tell you my neighbors do too. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vicky. Anybody else have a comment on the 2025 budget? Seeing none, did you want to comment? No. Seeing none, I'm going to close the public comment period for the 2025 budget. And now I would like to ask for a roll call to approve the 2025 budget and advance this budget to the Township Committee.
Okay. We need a motion and a second.
Yes, may I have a motion to approve the 2025 SID budget and advance to the Township Committee? May I have
Motion.
a second, please?
Is that better?
Second.
Ashley. Okay, so the motion was moved
Need a
by
second?
Alexa and second by Ashley.
All right,
May I have a roll call vote, please, with respect to the 2025 budget?
Alexa Clark,
Yes.
Tracy Katz Levine, Jackie Lieberberg,
Yes,
Ben Stoller.
I have a question for council. Since I'm on the TC and I'll be asked to approve it, what is the best course of action for me to take at this time?
Well, if you, you can, if you're asking if you can vote on this, you can
Yes.
vote on this.
Okay, yes.
Ashley Schultz,
Yes.
Stephen Weiner,
Yes.
thank you.
okay, we're now at the portion of general public comment. The public is invited to provide comments and ask questions at this point. Those utilizing Zoom or phone will also have the opportunity to speak. Clearly state your name and speak into the microphone and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Prepared statements may be sent to tracy@exploremillburn-shorthills.org. Please remember that this is a business meeting and professional decorum must be maintained. All questions must be directed to the chair. At the conclusion of public comment, members of the board may respond or ask the attorney or staff to do so. Staff and the attorney will not answer questions without a request from board members. I would now like to open public comment. At first, I'd like to take anything that's on Zoom, please. Okay, nobody is on Zoom. Okay, now we'll proceed with public comment.
My name is Jeffrey Feld from the poet section. I just want to supplement the comments that were made about the Bear Properties litigation. One thing that did occur that was not mentioned, that on the 11th, because the city did not, the township, based on a case management, I had to file a recusal motion for Judge, and you all received copies of that. I filed at 8:30 in the morning. Approximately 3:15 that Friday, the court transferred the case to a different judge, and now I'm trying to get the township to consent to a form of order memorializing the transfer and rendering my recusal motion moot. On Monday, the township's papers are due. I suggest that you watch the township committee meeting, discussion by the municipal attorney. He said certain things happened. He was showing that it did not happen. He misstated some of the facts to the community. Again, I ask you, when you have your presentation, to be more supplemental as to facts. Also, I think there needs to be explanation. Yes, we had, the unveiling of you have a Main Street, New Jersey designation, but the question is, what are the conditions? What are the boundaries of that area? Is it the entire SID, or is it limited to a Main Street area? Because based on emails I received from the state, they asked you to limit and to create a budget that's limited to a limited area. And I think the public needs to know that other portions, the other districts might be subsidizing, and that's been one of the contentions, this Main Street application. Thank you.
Richie Seibert, Millburn resident, 2 short comments. I went there and got a slice at La Strada, and Camilo says, where's the parade for the Halloween? He wants a parade in front of the street there. That's number 1. Number 2, suggestion. I love Christmas because it's my birthday, but the campfire Christmas, when you coming up to Christmas, you turn on your TV and it has the campfire and it plays music. That would be a great thing at the Town Hall Plaza with the big movie screen and the campfire and hot chocolate. And people will come there and shop and eat out and listen to music. That's it.
Is there anybody else that would like to speak? I will now close public comment.
We do have a short executive session.
Yes.
So I'll read that resolution.
Okay.
But if you need to go, you can.
No, it's fine. Head of Costco's texting me right now, so I have to answer, so that's why I'm not. So it's okay, I'm just texting.
We're going into executive session.
Okay, it's fine.
Mr. Kirkland himself.
3 hours in.
So as the Open Public Meetings Act provides for the exclusion of the public during certain matters, and whereas prior to the exclusion of the public, it's required that the Board of Trustees adopt a resolution stating the general nature and subject to be discussed. This body is about to consider a matter which falls under the purview of NJSA 10:4-12, which can properly exclude the public from such discussions. Therefore, be it resolved that the Millburn-Short Business Organization, Inc. Board of Trustees shall enter into closed session to consider the following. The general nature of the subjects to be discussed in closed meetings shall be matters involving the investment of public funds with certain banking institutions where disclosure would jeopardize such investment. It is further resolved, the minutes of said discussion shall be made public as soon as the matter under discussion is no longer of confidential nature. We just need a motion to go in. I don't expect formal action when we come back out. So the public can leave if they like.
Thank you.
Session, motion. May I have a second? Okay.
open the public.
Motion.
And a second from Stephen Weiner. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. You can make a motion to adjourn.
May I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
This meeting